receiving just another batch of 10, 20, 30, 50, or 100 resumes from people just like him, just as capable of him as him, you should say as him, not of him, almost every single month or week. And most of these people will already be in Japan, set up with visas and set up ready to go to take these classes away. Now this is actually a very good comment, Mr. B in Japan. I think that is probably the most accurate statement of the industry. There just seem to be a lot of people here who've got funky schools that ain't giving them leads, ain't giving them the proper pay, ain't giving them the resources, ain't taking care of them, and then, ain't giving them proper holidays. And even if they are, you're right, people who do this kind of work have the problems. And next day, another 100 people come to this country looking to do the same thing. And some of those people are even better qualified. They got degrees in TESOL. They got degrees in English literature. They got well-spoken accents. They got good manners and good looks and nice suits. They can get visas. Right? And that's a problem. That's a big problem. And of course, those people already exist. A lot of people who've been here for a couple of years already have the visa set up, already have the experience, and they're ready to start. So you got a lot of competition here. I myself would not want to be one of these English teachers right now. In fact, I think the industry's been pretty bad for quite a number of years now, like 20 years, right? It's been pretty bad now, 15, 20 years. So I don't think it's that great. Continuing with Mr. Big's response, that's what he has to think about. I also agree with some of the other Tokyo Forum members here about reading some of the other forums about this topic, as they are filled with people who are either the owners of schools, soft puppeting about issues affecting teachers, or about how great it is to work in an English school despite the pressures of the competition, how to free job, or which just censor discussions like this because they are afraid of losing their sponsors, which are English schools, or just otherwise ban people who have views they don't like. Judging upon others, I'm looking at you. This is Mr. Big's quote. Most of the people there are trolls and involved somehow, owning schools or teaching, and not wanting people like your friend to take their bread away. This is a very good point. I have noticed on some of the other forums about Japan and Tokyo that they are sponsored by English schools, and I have noticed that they will censor and ban people who start talking about English schools in a disparaging or otherwise another way that they don't want you to. It's kind of interesting. I think there is some censorship taking place. And you just don't know who is posted on the forum. Is it someone who owns a school, has an interest in it? Is it the admins of the forum that have an interest in the school? Probably is. Some other teachers don't want you taking away their bread, like Mr. Big says. Very good points, Mr. Big. Good response. Okay, Mr. Big continues in the next post. Also, if your friend wants to know more about it, he can join and PM me, or he can PM me from my email. I know a lot about what goes on the English business over here in Japan, etc. Very good, Mr. Big. Well, I think Mr. Big makes some very good points. There's another response here from Mr. He's a new member of the forum I haven't seen him before. Tokyo ESL teacher. He says, this is flat out wrong advice to give to a new ESL teacher. That's not how recruitment works. You are better off telling your friend to get a working holiday visa, apply to the larger or largest schools that have recruitment centers overseas. And they come over. Excuse me, Tokyo Joe had a lot of whiskey last weekend. You can listen to the podcast about it. And he also says, have a visa and be able to hit the ground running. Not a bad idea, actually. But, you can fly all day till the cows come home with some of those big schools overseas and never get a job. Yeah, working holiday visa, not a bad idea. And then he also says about Mr. Big, quote, you are such a troll. What makes you think 100 CVs land at the desk of the recruitment people here? That is an exaggeration. And all the other things you mentioned. What makes you think teachers are treated so badly, etc.? Well, they are treated badly. I hear you guys. I see you guys. I recognize you. I see you congregating at your cheap, eateries, and I can hear you grumbling about it. It's not just Mr. Big saying this. It's a lot of people. It's the teachers themselves. So, I don't know, Mr. ESL English teacher in Tokyo ESL teacher, that's your name. Maybe you are just one of the lucky ones. But I don't think everyone is doing that well. So I don't think Mr. Big is such a troll. 100 CDs a week? Yeah, easy. I think that happens quite often. I think these big schools probably get close to 500 CDs a week. There's so many people want to come over and teach English. I see them all the time, coming over and talking to their friends, and even a couple of running to me and ask me about my opinion about it. And I tell them I know nothing about it, what it's like inside, but I can hear a lot of other people talking about it. Okay, Mr. Tokyo ESL teacher continued. This is sheer hyperbole. Just because a forum locks threads, bans members who write something about English teaching industry, just because they also have sponsorship from some of the largest recruiters who want teachers, doesn't mean that they curry favor with these schools as sponsors. Well, that's a good point, Mr. Tokyo ESL teacher. But remember, just because a forum locks threads, as you say, locks threads, bans members who write something about the English teaching industry, and just because they also have sponsorship from some of the largest recruiters who want teachers, well, that doesn't mean they curry favor with these schools and sponsors, but it doesn't mean they don't either, right? People getting banned and censored for some reason. Why would that be? Yeah, very interesting. Well, Mr. Ueno, I hope your friend finds peace, and I hope he comes over here and teaches English if that's what he wants to do. But I recommend you listen to my podcast about, just like you said, about getting the experience and getting reference. But it sounds like he already has, and he just wants to come over anyway and see what happens. Well, I hope he has a lot of money in the bank, because, life ain't so pleasant here in Tokyo unless you got some money. And if he doesn't find a job straight away, find the house, get the visa, he's going to be fired pretty rough, and he's going to have to go home after a few days or weeks, or how long the money lasts for. I see these guys, they come over for a few weeks, and they get disappointed, and they end up going home. So I think your friend needs to stay at home for a few months and make some money. Then come over and spend it. Okay, everyone, peace. See you on the forum. Make sure you rate, subscribe, and register at the Tokyo Forum if you want to make some comments. I'll start a thread for this podcast, and we will continue with the podcast next week. I hope you have a wonderful week in Tokyo Town. For those of you in Ueno, and for those of you in Ueno, like Mr. Ueno were, you have my heartfelt love. And for those of you out in Omiya and down in Kawasaki and down in Osaka, you have my sympathy. Okay, peace from Tokyo Joe. Bye for now.